Okay, hi Claire. Thanks a million for joining me on the podcast.
Hi, Orla. Thanks for having me.
This has been a highly anticipated episode. I got a good few messages when I put it up on Instagram. But I want to know, back growing up for you, who or what got you into sport? I know your mum is an avid runner, but who was the first person to put a basketball in your hand?
Yeah, my family are sport mad. Like we played lots of different sports growing up. I have three brothers, and I suppose it was probably athletics first. I was big into athletics and used to play community games and be in Mosney, and an older brother, kind of 3 years older than me, and I used to be watching him, and he was playing football and athletics and different things. And then yeah, I'd say it was about 9 or 10, and got involved in the basketball so I'm from more in the club is Mary, and I got involved there about 9 or 10. But yeah, no, I loved it from the start, and did athletics and basketball then for a good few years, kind of moving through the end of primary school and all through secondary school. Um, yeah, no, just really liked it from the start, kind of the speed of it, and I think kind of my speed from athletics, and then I made a lot of my friends that have started playing, and yeah, no, loved it from the start, about 9 or 10.
Very good. I have that list of honours that I got sent by someone, but the one I wanted to pick out of the many honours you have, the pentathlon.
Yeah,
How did you get into that?
so that's the athletics pentathlon. So it's like multi. So I did lots of different events kind of growing up. Middle distance, I suppose, I kind of focused on eventually. But so the pentathlon was the 60-meter hurdles, high jump, long jump, shot put, and you finish with an 800 meters. And then you do all of them in the day and get points for different ones, depending on how you're getting on. And yeah, so I you had to qualify, and did the national one and qualified. They sent four to Glasgow. I went the year before, I did 2 years of it, I think. Um, and then I think when I was in second year, yeah, I went and I came first. And so you're representing Ireland. There's a team event as well, but it's an individual event too between Ireland, England, Scotland, and Wales. So I won it, and yeah, no, I'm delighted. It was definitely my best achievement in athletics. Yeah,
Deadly. And for you, then you obviously mentioned basketball, how you loved it. Your friends obviously have a big impact on what you do when you're a teenager. That's just the
yeah.
nature of it. When you go to a school that's so basketball orientated, how does that affect you as well? Like that, obviously, there's obviously probably athletics in the school, but when you're in a basketball school, and I
Yeah,
didn't go to one, and it,
yeah.
it kind of frustrated me in a way because I love basketball, and it was like there was no focus on it. But how did that affect your career and the decisions you made in your teenage years?
Huge amount. No, I was delighted with the basketball in the village. And I remember even when I was in primary school and looking up to the likes of Michelle Fahy, they brought home the first cup, and Joe Shields was coaching that team as well. And I just remember them winning in Tala and bringing the cup home to the village, big celebration. And, me and my friends in second, third class looking up to these girls and, thinking, God, that would be amazing one day. So then we got involved kind of playing then and played a bit of club basketball and some kind of school blitzes in primary school. But like we were so excited going into first year hugely because of the basketball, and like there's first year team and there's playoffs at the end of the year, and what if we could get there, and then your second year you're under 16. And yeah, no, it's a huge part of the village. I remember watching my older brother play in Tala. I was up there watching him a few years before I got into the school. I have a twin brother as well, and he was involved. And no, I mean, it was no brainer for us. We knew we wanted to go to Ormore. And the great thing is we were a club team, but pretty much all of us went to the same secondary school, so club training and school training was the same group of girls. So we grew up together there playing club and school and just kind of went from strength to strength.
That seems to be the same with the current crop that won the under 16
Yeah.
schools title. They all play for the same club team. When you're now living in Cork, when you look at Cork and Galway, obviously basketball's now thriving in Galway, but it is religion in Cork. What's the difference in terms of small town versus Cork, where it is easier to retain players in Cork because of different opportunities in terms of work
Yeah.
and maybe college. What are the differences there and the pros and cons of both?
Yeah, like that was a huge reason why I left Galway. Because well, I knew I wanted to study PE teaching. So there's UL, UCC, and GCU did it at the time. So I knew I'd kind of have to leave Galway. But another reason was because there was no like opportunity for me to play Superleague or Division One National League basketball in Galway at the time, like there is now, which is brilliant. So in Cork, you have those opportunities. There's 3 Super League teams at the moment now for women, which is great to see. But yeah, huge difference is like the girls playing for club here, they kind of all go to different schools here. They're scattered around, so you're going to your club training separate to your school training. And then it's kind of easier as well. Like different clubs would recruit different players and they might kind of change clubs a little bit or start off in their hometown, wherever that is, and then they might transfer to a bigger club for better opportunities for themselves. Or we didn't really have that in Galway because we were all from the same place, even from community games up. We didn't have under 16 AICCs or anything like that they have now, but it was under 18 Cup that we were focusing on then, and then obviously the under 16, under 19 schools. And then I know, well, from being on the Irish team at that time, you'd have the girls in Cork, the girls in Dublin, and yeah, they definitely had different setups. But I think we were so closely knit then group because we had both. And like the trainings were all with the same group of girls, and just having that success then together with your best friends that you're growing up with. Like I remember in Leaving Cert when we won the schools cup, and then that was a Friday night, we won the under 18 cup, and then the following week we won the under 19 schools cup. And like we were doing our mocks kind of at the time, but sure, we were just focused on the basketball. We'd have like a countdown on our school journals, like down to the finals, we knew we'd have to do our study and everything as well, but January was basketball time.
Yeah, exactly. And when you look back to that time when you're growing up, what was the biggest part of your development? Who was it? A person? Was it your own ability to practice and improve by yourself? How did you get so good? Is what I'm asking you, Claire. Really.
I mean, I had a great support system around me. A lot of people that helped me along the way. Joe Shields, fantastic coach. I had him all the way up there, and my mom was assistant coach to him. My mom brought me here, there, and everywhere for sport. I remember even before the school gym was built in Ormore in Calsanchez, like she'd collect me from school at lunchtime, bring me up to the Ormore Community Centre, and I'd be able to do my Irish program or do my half an hour training and bring me back again. Like, I mean, she would do anything for us, for all the girls on the team as well. Then there was lots of girls kind of that I looked up to, Michelle Fahy's group, and the girls a bit older than me as well. And we had a great group kind of coming through. And we'd all loved it. We'd go do our extra training. We'd love going to training during the week, pushing each other and really kind of growing together.
Well, we were talking before we hit record about the World Cup. Obviously, the first game was today. When you look at women's sports in Ireland now compared to what it was for yourself growing up, even in terms of me, like I'm only in my 20s and I've seen a massive shift. I love the way you keep mentioning Michelle Fahy, because you can already see the effect of you having a female role model that you could look up to. Well, is that? What's the biggest shift you've seen in women's sport in Ireland in general, or you could get specific with basketball if you want?
Yeah, no, it's really growing and it's great to see. And I love to see it as a PE teacher and everything. We're trying to keep girls involved in sport as much as we can, and looking at the girls at the World Cup today, and I mean, they're amazing role models, what they've done. And no, like, yeah, Michelle Fahy would be a role model for me, absolutely. And I was delighted to be able to play with her in Mary a few seasons ago. I think it's really important to have those people to look up that are there for you for any advice and everything like that too. But no, and I even remember back playing football. Like I played a little bit of Gaelic football with my brother's team, like under 10, because there was no girls club at the time. A few years later that started, that's thriving. I think that's gone from strength to strength as well. So really, I think if you look across the board, all the different sports, women's sports, it's really growing and it's great to see.
Mm-hmm. When we're talking about improving, obviously motivation and drive come in. Where does your drive come from to be the best you are now? Is it Is it within yourself? Was it taught from your parents? Where does that come from?
I'd have a lot of intrinsic motivation, I think, yeah. Just to try reach your own potential, kind of setting little goals for yourself and trying to reach those goals on the way to kind of a bigger goal. And I think just competitiveness, like I suppose I'd be probably kind of a quiet person off the court, and then on the court I just change into this competitive athlete, like something inside me, I don't know, it's the intensity of it, the challenge, setting goals, as I said. And then when you get the taste of winning, which we were lucky enough that we did growing up, in that underage success, once you kind of get a taste of that, it's like it's infectious, it's contagious. You want just kind of, you're hungry for more of that. So I think that's a huge drive. Those big days in Tala, underage in the cup and the schools cup, and then trying to get back there at senior level, and like there's kind of always something. I'm still playing, however many years later, and those special memories with the people that you're growing up with at a younger age, then your teammates at an older age become your best friends, and just to experience success with that definitely is a motivation factor too.
I actually had a similar question written down of, are you more of a hate to lose type of person or a love to win? Is that, what one is it for you?
Oh, love to win, definitely trying to better yourself, to get into those finals. And I'm probably both. I don't like losing either, but I do think losing, there's valuable lessons in it, and it's hard at the time, but thinking back now, like I know we had the underage success with Mary and with Cal Sanchez, but then getting into the Superleague, we lost the cup final my first 2 years Superleague with Glanmire, and then we lost in the semi to UL. Then I tore my ACL, and then we went back and won the 4 in a row cup after that, kind of from 2014 to 2018. So it's kind of, you learn a lot of lessons from losing, and kind of reflecting then on, you can analyze your performance and see how you can improve, and you remember kind of how it feels to lose. You want to improve that, so I do think there's lots of lessons in losing, and I think that's good to know, because it's hard to know kind of at the time, but it was definitely valuable for me when I look back.
When you mentioned setting goals, I get the sense that was something you did at a younger age, and you mentioned your intrinsic motivation, but was there anyone that kind of pointed you in direction of, that, setting goals and really targeting things, or was that just something you learned over time from playing with some of the other players?
That's probably just something over time. I'm not sure, maybe just little goals. It was always kind of basketball and athletics, and I suppose trying to reach your potential, trying to be the best that you can be. I remember in athletics, you could set personal goals a bit easier because you're looking to get PBs, personal bests, and in those different events that I was doing, like trying to jump longer, jump higher, knock however many milliseconds off your hurdles time, and then trying to bring that into basketball as well, but more kind of team goals that we'd set out that we'd want to achieve. So yeah, I think that's good with our setting goals with motivation, and with kind of trying to look, I suppose I'd always kind of be looking forward, or trying to plan what's coming up next and where you want to be at certain times. So I suppose like January's a big month in basketball, and what do I want to kind of improve to get to this level before then, or how can we better ourselves from last season? So kind of planning out and setting goals yourself. I wouldn't always have like written them down or anything, but I think they were kind of always there in my mind.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. What drives you now? I'm jumping a bit forward, but when you're back playing now, obviously you've had Emma, but what brought you back? And obviously you played such a high level, particularly the second half of the season.
Yeah.
What drives you now to keep going?
The main motivation coming back after having Emma was, so I played with Glanmire, and then I went back and played with Mary for 2 seasons. An opportunity kind of presented itself in a lot of the girls that I played with growing up, were going back playing together, mixed then with a lot of the younger ones coming through that are hugely talented. A lot of them playing on underage Irish teams now, and a little bit older. And I just thought that was a no-brainer for me, especially when I left Galway and went to college. That wasn't an option for me because it wasn't there then. And I just thought, definitely like this. And I'd encourage people to take different opportunities throughout their career. Maybe people were thinking, well, you should go and play in Division 1 now, but it was just special because it's your hometown, your home club, and we went unbeaten that year, and it was amazing. And then I played the following year with them as well. We went up Superleague, and we did really well, finished third in the league. But unfortunately, the end of that season was cut short because of COVID. So we never played our quarterfinal for the Champions Trophy. And then I moved back to Glanmire then. But I never got to complete a full season since then because COVID cancelled another year. And then I played 4 or 5 games the season that I was pregnant. So I just thought, yeah, I'd love to complete another season with Glanmire, definitely, if I can. Obviously Emma and the baby was priority, and I wasn't in my head, I didn't know any different. I was like, yeah, of course, I want to play. I'm going to try my best to play, but I didn't really know how it was going to go. But yeah, that was the main motivation to go back and play.
I give a lot of coverage to players going abroad because I think it's something we don't really cover in the game, and I got a lot of messages about people saying, oh, it's great to keep up, because years ago we wouldn't have known. We would have heard of people going away and not being able to keep up with it. Obviously social media's changed that, but for you went to Iowa. What was that like? How did the opportunity come up when at the moment it's all about sending tape, and a lot of it's done maybe on Twitter or social media? How did you get over there?
Yeah, Iowa State. Yeah, so I went there after my leaving cert. It was a lot harder then. So I went in 2008, 2009 season. So I think, yeah, there's a lot. There's more exposure now. Easier to access kind of tapes to send them, and tapes, maybe game tape of the school that's recruiting you that you can kind of watch yourself. So, but it was similar. We did send tapes of my international games, highlight tapes, schools cup games to different schools. I remember going over to a Division 2 school around Christmas time on an official visit, but Iowa State, the opportunity with them came up around the April of my leaving cert, so it was like the last kind of signing window. And I never actually got a chance to go and visit them on an official visit, but because it was kind of so late in the year. But yeah, I just jumped at the opportunity. Like, this is a big Division 1 school, and really loved the idea of the opportunity going over there. So I signed my letter of intent, committed to them kind of in April of leaving cert, and went away then in August after the under-18 Europeans. So that scholarship for 4 years, but I ended up just coming home after 1 year, which was a really tough decision. I had a really positive experience for my year there. I don't regret it in any way, and I would encourage athletes to go and try it out anyway. But for me, like, it was kind of the style of basketball. Like, I went to play basketball and I wanted to improve my basketball, but it's really important to kind of research and look up the style of basketball that they play. They have their system, and I just found that a lot, one of my strengths would be my speed, and probably came from the athletics and playing off the cuff, playing the fast break. And my team over there didn't have a huge focus on that. It's more kind of slow, structured, a lot of plays, and kind of had to be a 3-point shooter, like really good 3-point shooter, and the guard, they really like kind of driving in. And I'm a freshman there as well, and oftentimes freshmen don't play a huge role anyway, but I had to just weigh it up and say, am I going to improve here and get back to playing kind of the way that I like to play, or am I okay to stay here and try and change my game and fit into the team? And it was a really tough decision. And as I said, I don't regret it at all. Like, we played our home games in front of 8,000 fans every night in Hilton. Like, it was just unbelievable. And we went on a fantastic NCAA run that year as well, getting to the Elite Eight. We didn't win our conference tournament, we lost in the quarterfinal, but we got to the tournament and got all the way to the Elite Eight. Like, it was just amazing having the cameras in the dressing room, like the band, cheerleaders, the whole lot. It's amazing. Like, I'm delighted I experienced it all. But it really was the basketball and trying to weigh it up. And it's a huge decision, and like, it was a tough decision at the time, but looking back now, like, I'm delighted I came back. I always wanted to do PE teaching. They had it over there as well, but I would have had to do kind of an extra half year anyway, if not an extra year. And then bringing it back to Ireland, probably would have had to do some sort of course over here to get it transferred over to be recognised by the Teaching Council. So that in the back of my mind as well, that maybe getting an Irish degree would be the better option for me then. So that's what I did.
That's the thing about, and I was talking to Anna McGuire about this before, obviously in the States it's a very different setup to Ireland, but you go to play college basketball and then you kind of retire unless you play professionally, whereas with Ireland you can go and you can come back, and we've had so many players that have gone and, you know, experienced it and said, right, that's not for me, but they've ticked that box, they can close the chapter on that and come back. And that's the benefit of playing, you know, being Irish and playing in Ireland, that yes, you can go, but you can always come back. The door is always open to come back to Ireland.
Exactly. Yeah. No. And I really enjoyed my experience. I would encourage everyone that wants to go, but definitely to kind of research the team that you're going to, watch the game tape, trying to kind of visualize your game, fitting into their system. And no, like, I definitely have like positive experience, positive memories from it, and good friendships and everything. But that, I mean, that's a huge thing as well. You know, a lot of my teammates from there, some of them went on to play professionally, and they'd have to come overseas, really, over to Europe. Whereas, you know, it's 10 years later, more like 12, 13 years later. And I'm still playing Superleague over here, and international, and different opportunities. So absolutely, you know, I just think reflecting on your career, like, it sounds, sometimes you think there's not that many opportunities, like it goes fast, and it does, but at the same time, like, in your early 30s and you're still playing, and that's fantastic about the opportunities in Ireland. I really, really like that over here.
Did you ever consider going abroad when you came back to Ireland, kind of going to the UK or going to Europe at all?
Yeah, I did, but I remember speaking to a few people about it, about the opportunity, the idea of possibly playing professionally in Europe, maybe after, well, it would have been after my, I finished studying in UCC, but then I tore my ACL as well. So that was a bit of a setback in that regard. And then I got kind of my first job teaching and still playing with Glanmire. Yeah, the way that it worked out was when I was in college, played with Glanmire obviously for the 3 years. Then I tore my ACL my last year in college, which was almost a blessing in disguise, if it could be. Put a positive spin on that, because college, just be teaching out and teaching practice. Then we had college in the afternoons, assignments. Like, it was such a busy year. So, you know, training on top of that would have been hard. Obviously, I was in the gym doing my rehab and everything. But so I graduated then, and I was just kind of coming back from injury. And then I was mad to play for Glanmire again, because I was out for the best part of a year and a half. So yeah, and then we won that year. So I think, I don't know, just the years kind of went by, and I was happy playing where I was.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a pity in terms of the timing of your career. Obviously, you played underage with Ireland 2009. You were part of that team that qualified for Eurobasket, but you were kind of robbed of what would have been your prime in the Irish jersey. Does it bother you that you never really, you know, in your mid-20s, you never got the chance that was there 10 years previously? It was gone from that point.
Yeah, huge amount. Like, I was lucky that I had the underage, playing 4 summers in a row, under 16 and under 18 Europeans, and just loved it. I'd always tune in, like, to the teams playing, and I love that we can just watch them on YouTube now. It's great to follow them. I really enjoyed that. And then they stopped, so I didn't get to play the under 20s. But that summer I came back from the States, I was with the senior women, and we played. So it was kind of over a 2-year program then, and this was the second half of that, and we had some home games in the arena, and we went away to some games. And I mean, Susan Moran was on the team, Michelle Aspel, Michelle Fahy, Lindsay Peat, Niamh Dwyer, like all these in their prime. It was amazing, and some of us younger ones getting the experience, it was fantastic. But then when it was, and we were so close at that time, it was, so now it's all the one, like, but there was Division A and Division B then, and we were in Division B, but we were so close to qualifying for Division A. I remember we went to Iceland and we lost by a few points in a game that we should have won, and it was just such small margins, like, and you could just feel a pin drop in that bus. I remember when we, after the game, and I'm looking up to all these superstars, the girls that we were playing with, and you're just your teammates, and just how much it meant to all of us, But I was really rookie, like, looking up, and then when that was taken away, it was it was really hard. It really was. So that was 2009, if I remember correctly, and we went to small countries in 2016 in Gibraltar. So there was a couple of trips in between, like with an Irish select team going to Luxembourg. There was a couple of different international games. We went to 2013, part of the gathering. We played Wales, but there was no Irish team there for like 5 or 6 years. My early 20s to mid 20s. So yeah, it's really disappointing thinking back to that. Now I'm happy that I came back and got to play in 3 small countries tournaments, and the 3x3 basketball and everything else. So I did get some opportunities from it, but yeah, hugely disappointed.
Yeah, when you mentioned the names on that team 2009, I know it was a while ago, but do you remember what it was like being with them, and what did you learn from them? Was there anything specific that's a standout memory from sharing the dressing room with those girls?
Yeah, I mean, I just remember going to the trainings and really looking up to them, and just getting the valuable experience from being there. It's like seeing how they conduct themselves, their attitudes, their passion for the game, and even just having the conversations off the court. And would be quite enough person, probably even quieter then, and just taking it all in, to be honest. Learning from them, learning from the trainings. But that's definitely a standout memory from that Iceland game, that we were just so close. It was a really disappointing game, just underperformed, just one of those days. But it really was kind of a turning point in terms of our qualification. And had we qualified to Division A, possibly, you don't know, maybe they wouldn't have pulled the team when they did. And who, like, I mean, yeah, they're such a good team, and we could have, you don't know, but might have gone on to play in the Division A. So we don't know, but yeah.
Very good. There's going to be a lot of coaches listening, particularly, and younger girls as well. Is there any particular skill that you see in the game at the moment in Ireland that we're overlooking as coaches, or need to put a bit more focus on? Is there any? What do you think?
I think a jump shot in the key is really hard to defend. Like, obviously your finishes around the rim, and if you can get to the basket and get to the line, like, it's really good offensively, and your 3-point shot. But they're kind of the main, you'd focus a lot on those two, getting to the rim, or if you have your shooters. But I think, like, it's so hard to defend if you're a threat, I suppose, from the 3-point line, first of all. But if you can beat your defender, then get into the lane and, like, pull up there before the help comes across. If you could do all 3, ideally, like, you're really hard to guard there. But I think, that's a skill. I just see, going from underage to senior and playing international level, obviously the step up, and it's quicker. You have to make quicker decisions. You have to be more consistent. So that kind of comes from confidence, from practicing and things. But yeah, I think I would say the pull-up jumper, from both sides of the floor, getting in, just being confident, hitting that elbow jumper, getting further into the basket, but just before the help comes across, because in Europe or at the higher level, they're going to be tall girls coming in, and a lot of the times you can't get to the basket. So if you're confident and consistent shooting from there, it's hard to stop, I think.
When you mentioned the word consistency, I recently recorded with correspondent. It's not out yet, but she mentioned that consistency is a skill, and I thought that was really interesting. Is there any way for younger players listening that they've got feedback and it says you just need to be more consistent? What? How do you work on your consistency? How do you just I was talking to someone before and they said that great players just are just so consistent. They're always a 7 out of 10, or
Yeah.
they're not going to be a 10 out of 10 one day and a 2 out of 10 the next day. How do you develop that consistency?
Oh, I think it comes from practice, comes from hours and hours of practice, preparation, being in the gym on your own, shooting. I just think that builds up your confidence so that it's almost automatic in a game then, that like I just think my best games that you think back on, you're almost just in autopilot, or you're just on another level because you're confident, you're consistent, maybe few things have gone your way and you have all the skills, they're there, but often it's kind of psychological as well. And if you can get past that in the game, you're consistent because you've put in the work and you're able to perform then kind of when it matters. But it does come down to the hard work, the dedication off the game court time, away from practice. But then I do think that that kind of practicing on your own is important, absolutely. But then putting it into a game situation, you have to make that transition into a game situation and taking your game shots, but you can't really replicate that just practicing yourself. So when it comes to maybe your team practices, then that you have game situations to put those skills into practice. So then when it comes to the actual game, you've done both. And I just think it comes from having the practice on yourself, the confidence really.
Yeah. How often would you have practiced by yourself, particularly obviously now family life and work has taken over, but did you
Yeah.
like how often away from training, maybe in the summer, would you have practiced by yourself or with a couple of teammates?
Um, Definitely more, I would say. I just had a bit more time when I was younger, or like, I mean, growing up and get into the school gym in the mornings, maybe before school or lunchtime. Had a bit of that in college as well. Like when I was in UC senior, to have a class off, get down to the marge, I can get some shots up. A bit more difficult when you're working full time then. But so say we train 3 nights a week, you're trying to get in 1 or 2 other days anyway. Well, more during the summer, I think, when you're kind of a focus on a particular thing that you want to improve, maybe, but that you can put in the work more on your own in the summer. And if you have access to a gym, yeah, I can't remember exactly, but you'd want to be shooting the ball every day, probably, every other day, at least every second day. Um, to improve those skills to kind of get to that level.
When we're talking about, I asked Cora this question as well, and when you're at the peak of your powers and you went on this incredible run with Glanmire, did you ever feel invincible on the court at any game, at any level? Did you ever just have that, people talk about that flow state. Did you ever
Yeah,
experience that?
well, it's just that kind of automatic. You're in the zone. It's almost like, yeah, I know what you mean, but it's hard
Yeah,
to
it's hard to explain. Yeah, exactly what she said.
just get to that. Yeah. And then you're thinking, gosh, why can't I do that every day, every game, But unfortunately, they only come around now and again. Yeah, I think sometimes you're just so competitive, so into the game. Sometimes that just takes over, and suddenly you're scoring shots that you're like, I didn't know I could score that type of shot. Um, I can't really remember one exact ones. More so even parts of games where you just kind of can turn it on. But as I said, that just doesn't just happen by chance. You kind of have to have the hard work in, and it might come after a lot of games where you're maybe lost, you had poor performance, or you're learning from all those experiences, kind of before you get to that flow state.
How do you deal with the peaks and troughs then of, let's say, you're one week you're on fire, you're in that flow state. Next week you might have a slump because we're human. We're gonna go through difficult situations. And you said your ACL, the challenges. How do you balance
Yeah.
the peaks and troughs of your career? How do you find that balance?
Um, yeah, that's why I kind of like having a job as well, a PE teacher, and that basketball isn't the main focus, because, if I was playing basketball professionally like that, I think I'd struggle with that's the only thing, because you are going to have highs and lows. And when you're playing games every week and training, you're not going to be performing the exact same way every time, and depending on the opposition in the game and your role on the team or whatever, but I think there's like with basketball and all the regular games, there's always the next game's always the next week. You just take it kind of game by game. If you have a poor performance, or things don't go right for you in the Sunday game or the Saturday game, you're focused on Tuesday night's training and getting that right. I would do a little bit of reflection on the game as well, maybe watch back a bit of the clips, and that's when I think I would set little goals for yourself as well, like, and then if you're trying to improve one aspect of your game in the following weekend's game, even if it's little goals like offensive rebounding, or even intensity goals around defense or diving on loose balls or different things like that, that you can take pride in or look back. Like, they're not always going to be negative as well, or your whole performance. So look back on the positives, maybe look at 2 or 3 things you did well and one thing that you can kind of improve, and take that into training as your focus for the week, and then try to put it into the game situation at the weekend. But I do think, especially at the season, like, there's lots of games, lots of opportunities to improve on those maybe poor performances. But I do like having kind of the jaw, or in college, you had your college team as well. And like, say, under 20, you would have had your under 20 team as well. When it's just a Superleague team, and if that's your whole focus, then it's difficult, going into work. I do think, like, have something else as well. Or if you like going to the gym, if you like going for a run, other things that can kind of clear your head from it, and then always kind of reflect on it and see, well, yeah, I do want to improve that. So how can I do that for the next couple of games?
Mm-hmm. It's funny when you're talking about having work and then having basketball. I'd be very similar to you. I can't have all my eggs in one basket. Like, I just panic. Yeah. Like, I have to have these different things I can jump in and out of. And I can't remember who it was, but there was a clip on Instagram Reels or TikTok where it was a college player, and she was saying her biggest regret was her whole life was basketball, and now she's in college and it's like she doesn't have anything else. Now, she's a great basketball player, she's fabulous, and she'll probably go pro and all this stuff, but she was like, that was her biggest regret. And I thought that was fascinating for younger players that get all consumed by a sport, and it's like, okay, when you get injured, and I've talked to so many athletes that are injured, it's like you nearly have an identity crisis.
Yeah, absolutely. What else are you going to do? So no, I think everyone is different too, and some people might love being just a professional athlete or just having basketball, but yeah, for me, definitely, like, I suppose from my athletics background as well, growing up, I love going for runs and park runs and things like that too, or just having kind of something else. But no, I would kind of do like reflection and looking back on kind of your analysis of your game, and there's always things that you can improve, and not to get bogged down too much either, because everyone has bad games. Like, it's just normal part of your career. Everyone loses, taking the positives from it, trying to improve your performance, and taking those like being aware, I think, as well. As young people, like, we're not that aware that, like, losing is normal, and just being resilient and being able to cope with those. And you're not expected to win all the time, and that's okay, and that's absolutely normal. But you can try to improve your performance and learn the lessons from the losses.
I feel like we could be here another episode just talking about the Super League and National Cup titles, but I want to ask you about the evolution of the Super League from coming into the league and moving to Cork and properly getting involved to now. What's been the biggest evolution? Has the league improved? Has it gotten worse? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it's improved. I think there's a really good standard there now. Absolutely. Remember, there was a couple of years in the middle, there was no Americans. Definitely when they came back into the league, then, like, it's good in ways kind of for the Irish players, but they're always going to help the standard of the game. And I think having the professionals, the Europeans, having the victory scholars, I just think it really heightens the standard of the league and makes it more competitive. And then the Irish players have to step up as well. So there's more teams in it now as well. You can, like, there's a team in Galway, there's more teams cropping up that weren't there before, which is great to see. When I moved to Cork first and started P in UCC, Glanmire was the only Super League team there. I wanted to play at the highest level, and I played with Glanmire. Now they've a link with UCC anyway, UCC Glanmire, but there's 2 other Super League teams there now. So there's definitely been a growth in it, which is great to see. And I think the standard between kind of the older, more experienced players and the younger players coming through are amazing to see, and getting better and better each year, I think, as well as the professional players that come in. I think it's a really good standard this year. And I just really couldn't call it this year at all at the start. And it was so close. There was 3 or 4 teams just neck and neck kind of at the start, at the first couple of months. Then by December, we had a good run of it, and we were joined with Trinity Meteors for a few weeks there leading into February. And we went on to win the Super League with 2 games to go, which, I'd always be kind of looking ahead, looking at the fixtures, trying to figure out the different scenarios that it could be towards the end. And I never had us winning with 2 games left in the league, because it was just that close. There's so much talent in the league, spread out a lot among a lot of different teams. And I just think the league is getting better and better every year. And this year to win with two games to go, we were really kind of proud of that when you look at the amazing talent across the teams.
For all the pros you've played with or against, who's been the best import you've seen in the women's game in Ireland? Is there anyone, or maybe 2 or 3 that you can think of that were just incredible?
That's a tough question. I think I'd have to list them all out and go back through them. I think Rachel Van de Waal was absolutely amazing. I know she played a couple of different clubs and different levels in Ireland, then went on to play in Europe. But she is just such a good player to play against in the Super League. That was kind of the first few years of Super League for me. This year, Brittany Bird, I don't know if I've played with as good a player. Just her ability to score the ball when we needed it, amazing. She could do everything. I'd have to think about that. There's definitely lots of DC always have really good Americans, Colester. But I just think that it's really good to have them there, and they've really heightened the Super League standard, and you just have to raise your game. And for young Irish players, for Irish players my age, we need to adapt and get better to play with them and against them. So no, it's great.
Very good. How has your career evolved? How have you adapted your style of play to now? Have you made a big shift in your play? Obviously people will watch you play, but in your own mindset and your own ability, what have you seen your own evolution?
Yeah, I think growing up it was a lot of fast break layups, things like that. But when you're making the transition into senior level basketball, Super League standard, international, the margins are small, especially when you have the Americans and you have the really, as we were talking about, as the league is getting better and more competitive, you don't have as much time. You need to make quicker decisions. So I think improving my shot has been a goal my whole career. And I don't know, this year probably shot the ball the best, but I think that was because basketball wasn't my full focus this year. I was focused on getting the baby ready so I could go and play the game, and whatever I could contribute then I was happy with. It wasn't my main focus, so maybe it was a psychological thing for me. But if I wasn't thinking too much about it, then I might even shoot the ball better. But yeah, absolutely, shooting, get mid-range jumpers, as we spoke about, just being able to score in different ways, being versatile with the ball. I'm talking a lot really on offense, but defensively is huge. And I find like that the flow of the game, and when you get into that kind of state that we were talking about, often as a team, when you get into that, like it comes from your defense, it comes from your intensity. You're getting your stops on defense, you're getting those rebounds, getting those deflections, those steals. So I think, definitely from that, the evolution. Yeah, I think probably just the speed of it. You have to have different ways to score. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you could go back and relive any moment of your career to date, what would it be and why? Do you even a top three?
Okay. Definitely one of my favorite games was the first time we won the Superleague Cup, National Cup. So after, as I said, we lost 2 finals in a row my first 2 years in Cork. Then we lost the semi to UL, the unbelievable UL team that went unbeaten for nearly 2 seasons. Then I tore my ACL. So then we got to the final. Paul Keller was coaching us 2014. And before I got to Glanmire, they had already won 3 in a row. But I wasn't there for any of those. And then we had lost. So this is first big opportunity after my ACL and after those losses against this unbelievable UL team. And it went to overtime and we won in overtime. And I can't remember the score exactly, but it was in the 90s. I think it was an unbelievable game. So I'd love to go back to that. Definitely one of my favorite wins. Another one was going back to play with Mary. It was so special. That whole season we went unbeaten, winning the cup final there, Division 1. And then even playing Superleague, playing at the highest level in my hometown was really special. So yeah, we loads of memorable games then. So any of those games playing for Mary.
Yeah, I was watching back the 2014 final a couple of weeks ago. Paul sent it to me. Yeah, I have the clip, so if you don't have it, I can send it to you. It's what a game, what a game. I wanted another great question. A few of these came from the Instagram poll or questions box. If you could have one of your teammates' attributes, what would it be?
Oh, that's a tough question now. I would say, definitely Michelle Fahey. Back to Michelle Fahey again. I was thinking 3-point shooting. I'd always try to improve my 3-point shooting. So someone like Sarah Woods and her shooting and her off the dribble shooting, but Michelle Fahey and her passing, I've never played with or seen a better basketball passer. So she played with Glanmire those few years before I got there, and then I went back and played with Mary. She didn't play the first year in Division 1, and she played with us when we were in Superleague that year. So finally got to play with her. But she'd just find you. I'd be under the basket, and suddenly I'd have the ball right under the basket, no in front of me for an easy layup. She'd just find you in spots you didn't even know you're open and make it look so easy. And her no-look passes. Oh, I would take her passing any day.
Okay, wow. I'm going to put you on the spot with this one. Probably should have sent it to you. Any particular underage players or girls coming up that are maybe under the radar we should pay attention to over the next couple of years?
Under the radar?
Or any younger girls coming up that are maybe 18 to 20 or so?
Sarah Hickey, definitely. Just that she had a phenomenal season, Super League this year. Put it up to everyone, especially any times we played her. She's a huge threat for them. I played with Hazel Finn and Cara McLean in Mary. Love the way they play and the determination and the grit and the speed, and really looking forward to watching them play now with the 20s next week. Yeah, as I said, I love watching the underage teams in the summer, the 16s, 18s, and 20s, and the under 18s last week did really well as well. Came 6th. Absolutely amazing for them. I think they have so many threats as well. It's hard to pick out what, because they did really well in their preparation games as well. And some of the girls stepped up, and then others would step up even in the different games last week. So I think it's really hard to choose. As I said, there's so many good, talented girls coming through, and I just hope they all stick it out and play for the next 3 years and take all the opportunities that they can.
Brilliant. What's been the biggest lesson you've learned from sport, Claire? Is there anything in particular that stood out to you?
I think sport is really good for teaching resilience. Like just, and we touched about it a bit with the highs and the lows and how you're dealing with that, but because that's normal, that's part of it, being aware that the losses is not losing games or your injury setbacks, because that's what life is, and like if you're playing sport those younger years, you kind of get a head start on those life lessons, and being resilient and being able to deal with different things that happen on the court, and then you're knocked back a bit, but there's always other opportunities. And I just think it's there's really good lessons in losing. I know it's hard to hear at the time maybe, but when you get to my age, you're looking back on your career, you're thinking, God, yeah, like we had that real good success, the 4 in a row, but what happened the 4 years before that, and it really just, even subconsciously, without knowing, you are learning lessons along the way to do with resilience, I think.
Okay, very good. When people think of your name, when you do retire, don't retire yet. I'm not advising or encouraging you to do so. But when people mention your name, when you are inducted into the Hall of Fame, how would you like to be remembered?
I think just someone that would always leave it out there on the floor, like gives their all on the court. As I said, I am quite a quiet person off the court. On the court, I'm different. Defensively, just putting their body on the line, getting those rebounds, getting out the floor, giving it everything. That'd be great to be remembered like that. Hopefully a good kind of team player, and like delighted to kind of been on. So like I'm really lucky really to be on the teams that I've been on and have success. But it's not an individual sport. It is all about the team. And as you said, they're kind of about life lessons. I think another one is teamwork, like being a team player, and you need that in life and work and in everything, family life, like just being adaptable and being approachable and being a team player. So
very good. I might cause a bit of controversy with this question, but who's the best player in the Rockall or O'Sullivan families?
Oh.
Don't worry, you don't answer that one. I just had to throw it in.
Can I go for my daughter, Emma O'Sullivan?
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to move on to Sideline 7. Claire, we'll have to do a part 2 at this point because I've still so much I want to cover if I'm conscious of time. Sideline 7, you prepped for this one, no pressure. Question 1, what is your favourite quote?
So my quote is, success is a journey, not a destination. I just love that one because it is, for me, it's all about kind of the challenge and the enjoyment of the little wins along the way on the journey, and talked about kind of smaller goals, trying to reach your bigger goal. And then like when you do win that cup final or make that Irish team, and that might be your big goal, but it's not your destination, it's not your end point. It just kind of makes you hungry for more. So it is all about a journey, and in that way too, you are going to have your highs and your lows, your good days and your bad days, but the journey is the challenge, it's the enjoyment, it's why we do it, really.
Okay, very good. Question 2, what's the best sporting event you've been to? And you can pick one as a fan and one as a player.
Yeah, so as a player, definitely the 3x3 Europe Cup in Amsterdam in 2017. So played in a lot of the qualifiers, and we played in one tour stop in the women's series in Italy, and there was like Canada and USA, and they were all there, and it's amazing. But we qualified from a qualifier in France that summer, and we got to go to the Europe Cup. So it's the top 12 teams in Europe. So I think it was the highest level I've played at really internationally. And we didn't get out of our group. We played Netherlands, the hosts, and we played France. And we're really close games, like always close. We're right there in 3x3, I feel. But there was big, so it was on in a big arena. They put the outdoor court and arena, like seating all around, in the middle of Museum Square in Amsterdam, and like it's just amazing. Like it was class. No, I X3 arenas, and I love following it. I would really encourage people to get involved in it. And like they're bringing the courts around Ireland now, as they see more and more of. So I'd really encourage all basketball players to get involved in the summer. It's fun. It's outside. And music is on. So it's really good. So, as a fan, I'm going to pick an athletics one for this. So I went to the World Athletics Championships, and they're in London. That was 2017 as well. Yeah, I mean, my mum went over to watch, and we went the day of the heptathlon. So the heptathletes were on doing 2 or maybe 3 of their 7 events. So just from my experience doing the multi events, the pentathlon was 5 events underage when I ran, but kind of the equivalent events now, like on the world stage, and just being able to watch them. Big arena or stadium in London was amazing.
Wow. Did you get your Paris tickets yet? Have you got any athletics tickets for
No.
Oh,
no, I haven't. I'd love to go. I'll be watching them all on the TV. Yeah.
Good stuff. Question 3. What's been the biggest setback or challenge so far in your career, and how did you react to it?
Setback, definitely my ACL injury. Happened when I was 21. So we thought it was just partially torn first, and had a lot of different MRIs, and so kind of took a few months to actually realize, yes, this is fully torn and needs to be reconstructed, so need the full operation. So there was a bit of kind of hope, like, yes, I probably can play, but maybe I might tear it eventually. But if I put in the gym work and build it up, I might be able to get through the season. And this is kind of going into 3rd year in college, so really wanting to play, and didn't want to be sitting on the sideline for the year. So then I remember going home one weekend, and there was a letter there for me from the consultant that said he'd looked at it again, and actually, we need to go in and operate. And it was just devastating. So that got the operation in October, and then went back the following September, I suppose, for that season. I was lucky enough. Well, that was one of the years that there wasn't an Irish team that summer. But, so I wasn't kind of rushing back for anything, which having the extra few weeks or months at the end of the rehab was probably a good thing. And thankfully, I haven't had any problems since. Like, it is obviously a long road recovery and the rehab and getting to the gym and doing the exercises. But, thankfully, it's been all good since. But that was a big setback. I was out for a 1.5 years or so.
Very good. On the flip side then, what's been your biggest achievement to date, on or off the court?
This is a hard one. I think the 4 cups in a row with Glanmire is really special. Equally, going back to play with Mary, I really loved. Athletics, I would pick the winning the pentathlon between Ireland, England, Scotland and Wales. And then just the 3x3 and playing at such a high level in that. I enjoyed the small countries too. Sorry, I don't know. It's hard to pick one.
You're just listing everything.
No, it's so hard to pick one. I mean, I've been so lucky with the achievements.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that one. We'll take it to a few answers. Question 5. Looking back, Claire, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self? You would have been in Iowa at the time, or about to go.
Yeah, I turned 18 just a couple of weeks after I got there. So yeah, I would say take risks, like try to get out of your comfort zone, and just take the opportunities when they come. And if they don't work out, you can always change and take it. And don't be afraid to take another path if you have to, and if that's the right thing for you to do at the time. I just think, take the opportunities. Sport, it's competitive. It's not around forever. So to take the risk. And also, as I said, about just being aware that losing games and maybe setbacks are all part of it. So, don't get too bogged down on that. Know that, you will just grind it out. It's normal. It's part of it, and keep working hard and trying to reach your goal.
Very good. Question 6: Who would be your dream dinner guest and why?
This one I was thinking, I'm a huge UConn fan. I love following college basketball and some of the WNBA teams too. So think some Yukon legends, Gino or Emma, Sue Bird, definitely, Brianna Stewart. I'd love to just sit and listen to them. Maybe Sabrina Ionescu as well, thrown in there. Yeah, probably it.
And you obviously saw the news about a week ago, well, less than a week. I think it was this week. We're going to have our own Irish Yukon player. That's the biggest ever college signing we've had. So that's going to be really exciting.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm so looking forward to following her journey. I wish her all the best.
Question 7, final question before I let you go. If your life was a book, Claire, what chapter would this be called?
Do they call near the end the career? Maybe the epilogue. Not quite there, but nearly. No, if it's my life, I suppose, busy family life.
Busy family life. I'll leave it there. Claire, thank you so much for joining the podcast. Best of luck with the next season and beyond. I'm sure I'll catch up with you at some point. And thanks again for your time.
Thanks so much, Orla.